I'm joined on the Crispin Flintoff show by Paul Laverty, a screenwriter and long-time collaborator with Ken Loach. How are you doing, Paul?
Great to join you, Crispin.
All enjoyed your films, and I don't want to waste time on that because you've had other things you've been getting on with, which is getting arrested. And I'm just going to play a clip of your pre-arrest and then your arrest.
And those 22 members of the cabinet have it in their power, to immediately stop weapons to Israel, and they could support the boycott and divestment campaign. Very, very simple. They could do that now. They could save lives immediately. And because they are not doing that, I would suggest that they are guilty of collusion with genocide. So let's start naming these 22 people. People don't like to be named. They don't like to hear their names when there's footage and you know, as times come past. Who are those 22 members of the cabinet? Those people who tonight could summon everyone and say, right, stop. Now here they are. Let's start naming them. Sir Keir Starmer. Angela Rayner. Rachel Reeves. Pat McFadden. David Lammy. Yvette Cooper. John Healey. Shabana Mahmood. Wes Streeting. Bridget Phillipson. Ed Miliband. Liz Kendall. Jonathan Reynolds. Peter Kyle. Heidi Alexander. Steve Reed.
Oh, can I get a word with you?
Yes, you can. Yes, let's have a seat.
You can't just come this way. Just come this way. Just one word. I'm going to explain something to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is not part of the Edinburgh Fringe. I'm asking the police if they want to speak to me by wearing this t-shirt.
Sir, basically, you just need to grab your details.
Sorry, wait a minute. Am I being arrested? No, am I being arrested for what?
You can do if you want.
Yes, well, I'm not what I'm arrested for. Genocide Convention. Hello, friends. You're going to make our support here. Gaza. 3 UN. 3 UN.
How the fuck did you do your job on this?
I'm sorry.
Sorry, no, this is bullshit.
Yes, Can I just point out that Amnesty International Forensic Architecture, 3 UN thing I've said there is genocide in Gaza. Genocide Convention. Are you aware of the Genocide Convention by any chance?
Yes, well.
Okay, what does it say about Article 3? Article 3, duty to stop genocide. Okay. Yes, so am I being arrested? No, I'm actually being arrested. Am I being arrested for wearing this t-shirt?
Listen as well, stop filming. He's been arrested for counter-terrorism offence. I will seize your phone as part of evidence for the inquiry.
Incredible turn of events. What do you feel like after you watched those clips?
Crispin, it's quite surreal, really. But I want to. The starting point for me is this, and I think it's really, really important in these occasions just to go back to basics, you know. And this is a quote from Mr. Smotrich, and he's at the heart of the Israeli cabinet. He's not some, you know, marginal figure. He's the finance minister since 2022, and this is what he says: "We are leaving Gaza as piles of rubble with total destruction. This has no precedent, and the world isn't stopping us." Now, that is a remarkable statement from someone at the heart of the Israeli government. Not only do they carry out genocide in front of our eyes, they are taunting the world with it. They're making fun of it. You can imagine the smirk on his face, and the world isn't stopping us. And he's actually dead right. It's the first time I've ever agreed with him. I mean, it's remarkable to think that the pariah state of the United States has given $22 billion to this executive to carry out the destruction we've seen in front of our eyes. So it's a feeling of fury, I suppose, that many people will watch the execution of the starving every morning. The latest figures. I mean, I tried to find the figures before this program, but they kill about between 60 and 100 every single day now. And in fact, it's going to get worse because they've actually decided to clear Gaza. So when you think of the scale of that, and then we go back to how why I got arrested, and it's interesting to look at the roots of that. I won't go into the case just now, but what is remarkable is that Yvette Cooper, our Home Secretary, after 2 planes were spray painted. I mean, I don't think they were even damaged. 2 planes were spray painted. And then suddenly, they prescribed Palestine Action as a terrorist organisation. Now, traditionally, all the UN jurists and the special rapporteurs and many other people have criticised that, because what could be handled in terms of criminal damage. Traditionally, we have understood terror to be the advocating of murder, carrying out of murder, hostage taking, damage to individuals. But the idea that the tipping point for this was the spray paint on two planes, and then suddenly this is now prescribed to be a terrorist organisation. And then I wear a T-shirt which says, and what it said was 7 simple words. It said, genocide in Palestine, time to take action. And somehow now I am faced with a terrorist charge under Section 12, with the possibility of going to prison for 6 months and an unlimited fine. I have another colleague who wore the T-shirt. He's a member of the Scottish Solidarity Campaign. He's been charged under a different section with the possibility of going to prison for 14 years. Now, it just feels absolutely surreal. But what I think it does show, Crispin, is just how fragile our rights are. And I'll give you another little example. I've got a friend just yesterday. She is an emeritus professor of health in a prestigious university. Now, yesterday, she tried to get a T-shirt printed with the following words: I oppose genocide, and I oppose the prescription of Palestine Action. She didn't say she supported it. She said she was trying to get this printed for a march coming up. I oppose the prescription of Palestine Action. 3 print shops refused to carry it out. They said they were too frightened. Now, that just shows you how the space is diminishing, how something which should be free expression, the right to protest, is impinged upon. So we have a real battle here. And it's interesting, isn't it? The symbiotic relationship between trying to stop the genocide in front of our eyes in Gaza, but also the political campaign here. And I suppose it's little wonder, as fury from the public, when they're so disgusted by the savagery of what we're seeing in Gaza, yet at the same time, we are still exporting arms to Israel. We're still training the IDF here, and we're still sending flights over Gaza. Now, I received a letter from Ian Murray in his award-winning newsletter to his constituents. He's very proud of that. And he told us in that letter that they're not flying spy flights over Gaza, we're looking for the hostages. I mean, it's absolutely mind-boggling, the drivel they come up with. In relation to the F-35, there's a factory here in Edinburgh called Leonardo's. And they produce something which I understand to be the sights for the F-35s. Now, Ian Murray tells us that that is now part of a pool with NATO. And he says, I understand that we can't withdraw from that pool. Now, when you think about that, this is remarkable. This is a man who is member of the cabinet. He is subject to the Genocide Convention, came into force in 1951, 153 countries. Article 1 is the duty to prevent and punish genocide, and Article 3 is the duty not to collude with genocide, including failure to act. So this man at the heart of government, in our cabinet, is telling us, I understand those parts can't be withdrawn from a pool. Now, a semi-competent monk in the Middle Ages could organise a pool and exclude one person from it, quite simply. And he says, I understand. Understand from whom? From the chief executive of Leonardo's, from the head of the army, from the Israeli embassy. I mean, they're treating us like absolute fools. There is a duty to be rigorous and a duty to stop genocide. So that's why I began with that speech, that tomorrow that cabinet could do it. And I think we should remember their names. History will judge them, make them responsible. Ed Miliband, his father will be turning in his grave. Hilary Benn, his father will be turning in his grave. Anybody who watches the execution of the starving every single day and realizing that there's someone they know in that cabinet can tomorrow stop it, stop at least, begin to impinge on the Israeli government, and they don't do it, no wonder these 22 infamous people should hang their head in shame.
Now, you mentioned there was personal responsibility of the cabinet ministers, but I mean, you've taken personal responsibility, so you're living your life according to what you're saying about them as well, because you have not been arrested before. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's a bit surreal. Yes, I haven't. Maybe I should have been, but I haven't been. Yes, I've not been in trouble with them. Actually, when I went to the police station, it was more black comedy, Crispin. I mean, I should do a script with Ken, really, and it was kind of surreal, the whole occasion. But it is a strange experience, after wearing a t-shirt like that, and getting your mouth swabbed for your DNA, getting your shoes and socks taken off, getting your fingerprints taken. And then I told them, as I was getting my mugshot, I had some sympathy for Donald Trump. He must have felt the same, I suppose, getting his mugshot. So actually, with the police inside the station, they were actually very pleasant, and the arrest wasn't pleasant, and the young
So
lad.
what did he sort of came up to you and said, "Can I have a word with you?" Or that's what it sounded like.
Yes, I have. Well, yeah, well, I have a word, but I just wanted to know what I was being arrested for. So I suppose some lawyers will tell me whether that was accurate or not. But it's interesting too, because quite a lot of the youngsters in the place recorded it, and they were told, to scrub their cameras, otherwise it'd be taken in evidence, yeah, and used. And that's the remarkable contradiction in there. I mean, you wouldn't want to delete the footage if you were going to use it in evidence. And one young lad actually pointed that out to him and refused to do that. So bravo to him. But I don't want to get lost in the detail of my
No,
particular
no. I mean, that's
case.
the thing is you made a point as well when you came out of talking about Gaza and the genocide and you've made that the central point of this. It is easy to get distracted
Mm.
on the police and stuff like that. But it's hard not to cover that because it's shocking, but also it does distract us, as you say, from what's actually going on here, the bigger
Yeah.
picture.
The key thing is to go back to the roots of it. I mean, servants of the state, whoever they are, there's the police or the Lord Advocate who's in charge of prosecution in Scotland. Palestine action has been prescribed, and now it's linked to the Terrorist Act, and that decision was made by Yvette Cooper. That's where the blame should lie, that they are terrorising protest and bringing it into the realm of terrorism. Now, that is barbaric, and we have to fight that because that is part of our democratic rights to protest. It goes back to time immemorial. And what's happening now, because of this prescription, it really is beginning to restrict the actual things that people can do. But not only that, it's beginning to make people frightened in their minds, and people are shutting up and being quiet. Like I just told you with the print shops. This is why there's a real battle going ahead. And I think there's an obligation too. This is why, just to go back, I really think we have to start treating this genocide convention not as some empty rhetoric, to really make this count. This is not, this is not some voluntary thing that you join up with. This is an international treaty, and it says, collusion can be direct, indirect, or failure to act. Now, when every single bona fide human rights organization under the sun, from Amnesty International Human Rights Watch, Médecins Sans Frontières, Forensic Architecture, please look at their report. It's the most brilliant document of our time. It's a cartography of genocide. They use hundreds and thousands of data points to build up a picture of genocide. So we know there's genocide. And so given that, we have to really put pressure on this infamous 22 to take action under the Genocide Convention. That's why I always mention their names. I'm actually going to do a rally just now, and we'll mention it again and again. I mean, they should be up there with the Argentinian generals. They should be up there with Pinochet. They should be up there with the murderers of Victor Jara, because they know that they're allowing arms from our country into Israel as we speak, and they could stop it tonight. So that's why I'm going to name them at every possible opportunity I can. Yeah, but Crispin, don't worry. The next one will be a comedy. I'm going to have a word with Ken, and we're going to try and do another comedy. That's what
you should do.
Everybody up.
You're doing the cell. I mean, I bet when you were in the cell, you were thinking about all kinds of things in there. I bet you had loads of ideas coming up in there.
It was totally surreal. I was actually talking to some of the young police officers who were bored out of their mind what they'd seen at the Edinburgh Fringe. And I was telling them about a wonderful play by a brilliant Egyptian writer called Nowhere. It's going to go to London very soon. It's going to go to Dublin. So look out for that brilliant piece called Nowhere. It's a brilliant piece about Egypt. And so, I mean, these guys were bored out of their skull. We talked about their overtime, how much they had travelled, and all sorts of stuff. And what you forget is that there's just real people doing these jobs. But it's the people who sent them to do that. Yvette Cooper. We must remember she should take responsibility for the barbarism that she's involved in.